I smoothed my dress for the 100th time, taking a deep breath as I surveyed the crowded living room. This was supposed to be a joyous occasion, announcing my engagement to Victor, but the air crackled with an undercurrent of tension I couldn't quite shake. "Emily, darling," my mother's voice cut through the din. "Come here and let me see that ring again." I plastered on a smile and made my way through the sea of relatives and friends. My parents, Hannah and Jack, beamed with pride, but I couldn't help noticing the stark contrast on the other side of the room. Victor's mother, Sarah, wore an expression that could curdle milk. "It's lovely, isn't it?" I held out my hand, the diamond catching the light. "Absolutely stunning," Hannah gushed. "Victor has excellent taste. In more ways than one," Jack added with a wink. I felt a warm hand on my back and turned to see Victor, his eyes twinkling. "There's my beautiful fiancé," he said, planting a kiss on my cheek. "Victor." A high-pitched voice rang out, and I stiffened. Mora, Victor's childhood friend, sashayed over, her dress leaving little to the imagination. "I can't believe you're actually getting married." She threw her arms around him in an embrace that lasted far too long for my comfort. When she pulled back, her hand lingered on his arm. "Well, when you find the right person, you just know," Victor said, giving my waist a squeeze. Mora's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Of course, though I always thought you'd end up with someone younger." I felt like I'd been slapped. At 32, I was hardly ancient, but the 5-year age gap between Victor and me had clearly become ammunition. "Age is just a number," Victor replied smoothly. "Emily's perfect for me in every way that matters." Before I could respond, Sarah appeared at Mora's elbow. "Victor, dear, why don't you come help me in the kitchen for a moment?" As they walked away, I caught Sarah's pointed glance in my direction. My stomach churned. "Don't let them get to you," Jack murmured, appearing at my side. "You're worth 10 of those two put together." I nodded, grateful for my parents' unwavering support. But as I watched Sarah whispering urgently to Victor, her disapproval radiating across the room, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a long, uphill battle. The party dragged on, a veneer of celebration barely masking the underlying currents of disapproval and jealousy. I found myself seeking refuge in a quiet corner, nursing a glass of champagne. "Quite the shindig, isn't it?" A gruff voice startled me. I turned to see William, Victor's father, looking as uncomfortable as I felt. "It's something," I admitted. He chuckled. "Look, Emily, I know Sarah can be difficult, but give her time. She'll come around." Before I could respond, a commotion erupted near the gift table. I hurried over to find Mora, glass in hand, teetering dangerously close to the carefully stacked presents. "Oops," she giggled, reaching for a box and nearly toppling the entire display. "Here, let me help you with that," I said, trying to steady her. She yanked away from me, eyes flashing. "I don't need your help, Grandma," she hissed, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. A hush fell over the room. I felt all eyes on me, waiting to see how I'd react. My cheeks burned with humiliation, but I refused to let her see how deeply her words cut. "Mora!" Victor's sharp voice cut through the silence. "That's enough. I think it's time for you to go home." As he led her towards the door, I caught Sarah's disapproving glare. This engagement party had turned into a disaster, and I couldn't help but wonder if it was a sign of things to come. I stood in front of the full-length mirror, smoothing down my wedding dress. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, but the knot in my stomach wouldn't let me forget the drama of our engagement party. Still, I was determined to focus on the positive. Victor and I were about to start our life together, and nothing could ruin that. "Oh, Emily!" My mother's voice cracked with emotion as she entered the room. "You look absolutely radiant." I turned, smiling at Hannah and my maid of honor, Lisa. "Thanks, Mom. I can't believe it's finally happening." A commotion in the hallway caught our attention. Lisa peeked out the door, her eyes widening. Emily? We might have a problem." Before I could ask what was wrong, the door burst open. There stood Mora, wearing a skin-tight white dress that left little to the imagination. "Surprise!" she trilled, twirling in place. I couldn't miss my best friend's wedding. I felt the blood drain from my face. Mora, what are you doing here? You weren't invited. She waved her hand dismissively. Oh, please. As if Victor would get married without me here. Hannah stepped forward, her voice steely. I think you should leave, young lady. This is a private ceremony. Mora's eyes narrowed. I'm not going anywhere. Sarah invited me herself. Of course she did. I should have known Victor's mother would pull something like this. Just then, Victor appeared in the doorway, his face a mix of shock and anger. Mora, what the hell are you doing? I came to support you, silly. She sidled up to him, placing a hand on his chest. You can't seriously be going through with this, can you? I watched, frozen, as Victor gently but firmly removed her hand. Mora, I love Emily. We're getting married today, and nothing's going to change that. Now I need you to leave. Tears welled up in Mora's eyes. But we've known each other forever. How can you choose her over me? Because she's the one I want to spend my life with, Victor said firmly. Please don't make this any harder than it needs to be. As security escorted a sobbing Mora out, I caught sight of Sarah watching from the end of the hall, a satisfied smirk on her face. My blood boiled. Victor turned to me, his eyes full of concern. Emily, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she'd show up like this. I took a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. It's not your fault, but I think it's time we had a talk with your mother. We found Sarah in a small sitting room, looking far too pleased with herself. Oh, there you are, she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I hope you don't mind that I invited Mora. I thought it would be nice to have all of Victor's old friends here. Cut the act, Mom, Victor snapped. We know exactly what you're trying to do, and it stops now. Sarah's facade cracked, her eyes hardening. I'm only looking out for your best interests, Victor. You're making a mistake marrying this woman. The only mistake here is thinking you can manipulate us, I said, finding my voice. Victor and I love each other, and we're getting married today. If you can't accept that, then maybe you shouldn't be here either. Sarah gasped, clutching her pearls. You can't be serious. I'm his mother, and I'm his wife-to-be, I countered. It's time for you to decide what's more important, your son's happiness or your own prejudices. Victor took my hand, squeezing it gently. She's right, Mom. Either you support us or you leave. It's your choice. For a moment, Sarah looked like she might explode. Then her shoulders sagged. Fine, she said through gritted teeth. I'll behave. But don't think this changes anything. As we left the room, Victor pulled me close. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. Are you ready to do this? I nodded, feeling a surge of determination. More than ever. Let's go get married. Hand in hand, we walked towards our future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together. I hummed happily as I folded another sundress into my suitcase. Our honeymoon to the Bahamas was just hours away, and I could hardly contain my excitement. Despite the drama at our wedding, Victor and I had emerged stronger than ever. I was ready to leave all the stress behind and focus on our new life together. The shrill ring of my phone startled me out of my reverie. Victor's name flashed on the screen. Hey, honey, I answered, smiling. Did you forget something at the... Emily. Victor's voice was tight with panic. You need to get to your parents' house right now. My stomach dropped. What? Why? What's wrong? I can't explain over the phone. Just hurry, please. I'll meet you there. The line went dead, leaving me frozen in place. 1,000 scenarios raced through my mind, each worse than the last. With trembling hands, I grabbed my keys and rushed out the door. The drive to my parents' house was a blur. I pulled into the driveway, noticing Victor's car already there. Heart pounding, I burst through the front door. Mom! Dad! Victor! I called out, my voice shaking. They were all gathered in the living room, faces grim. My mother rushed to embrace me, while my father stood by the window, his jaw clenched. Victor paced back and forth, running his hands through his hair. Will someone please tell me what's going on? I demanded. Victor stopped pacing and took a deep breath. It's my mother and Mora. They've done something terrible. I sank onto the couch, bracing myself. What now? They're trying to stop us from going on our honeymoon, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. They've concocted some ridiculous story about you being unfaithful. The room spun. What? That's insane. How could they even? There's more. Victor cut in, his face ashen. My father overheard them planning. God, I can't even say it. My mother sat beside me, taking my hand. Sarah apparently has some scheme to marry you off to another man, she said gently. Someone she deems more suitable for Victor. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. This can't be happening, I muttered. How can they hate me this much? Victor knelt in front of me, taking my hands in his. Emily, listen to me. We're not going to let them win. I love you, and nothing they say or do will change that. I nodded, trying to blink back tears. But what are we going to do? They're clearly willing to go to any lengths to break us up. My father finally spoke up, his voice steely. We fight back. We expose their lies and make sure everyone knows the truth. Dad's right, Victor agreed. We need to confront them head-on. No more playing nice. I took a deep breath, feeling a surge of determination. Okay, let's do it. But how? Victor's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his face darkening. It's my father. He wants to meet us at the park in an hour. Says he has information that could help us. I stood up, squaring my shoulders. Then let's go. It's time to put an end to this once and for all. As we headed for the door, my mother caught my arm. Emily, whatever happens, remember that we're here for you. Both of you. I hugged her tightly, grateful for my parents' unwavering support. Thanks, Mom. We're going to need it. Victor and I drove to the park in tense silence. As we pulled into the parking lot, I spotted William sitting on a bench, looking more haggard than I'd ever seen him. Ready? Victor asked, squeezing my hand. I nodded, my heart racing. Ready. We stepped out of the car, walking towards William and whatever revelation awaited us. One thing was certain. Our lives were about to change forever, and Sarah and Mora had no idea what was coming their way. As we approached William on the park bench, my heart raced. His hunched posture and weary eyes spoke volumes before he even opened his mouth. Dad, Victor said softly. What's going on? William looked up, his face etched with regret. I'm so sorry, both of you. I should have spoken up sooner. I sat beside him, bracing myself. What did you hear, William? He took a deep breath. Sarah and Mora. They've gone too far this time. I overheard them planning to sabotage your honeymoon. Victor's fists clenched. How? They've concocted a story about Emily being unfaithful, William said, his voice barely above a whisper. They plan to send fake evidence to you, Victor, right before you leave. I felt the blood drain from my face. That's insane. How could they even think? It gets worse, William interrupted, his eyes meeting mine. Sarah has this ridiculous idea of setting Emily up with someone else. Someone she thinks is more suitable for you, Victor. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I gripped the bench to steady myself, feeling Victor's arm wrap protectively around my shoulders. Who? Victor demanded. William shook his head. I don't know the details, but Sarah seemed confident she could make it happen. I stood up abruptly, anger coursing through me. This ends now. We need to confront them. Victor nodded, his jaw set. You're right. No more games. We thanked William for his honesty and headed to Sarah's house. The drive was tense, my mind racing with all the things I wanted to say. As we pulled into the driveway, I spotted Mora's car. Of course she was here. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation ahead. Victor squeezed my hand. Ready? I nodded. Let's do this. We burst through the front door without knocking. Sarah and Mora jumped up from the couch, their faces a mix of shock and guilt. Emily, Victor, Sarah stammered. What a surprise. Save it, Mom, Victor snapped. We know everything. Mora's eyes widened. What are you talking about? I stepped forward, my voice steady despite my racing heart. We know about your plan to ruin our honeymoon. The fake infidelity story, the scheme to set me up with someone else. It's over. Sarah's face hardened. I don't know what you think you've heard, but don't lie, Victor cut in. Dad overheard everything. A flicker of panic crossed Sarah's face before she composed herself. We're only trying to protect you, Victor. Can't you see she's all wrong for you? The only thing wrong here is your behavior, I said, my voice rising. You've tried to undermine our relationship from day one, and I've had enough. Mora stepped forward, her eyes glistening with fake tears. Victor, please. We've known each other forever. How can you choose her over me? Victor's grip on my hand tightened. Because I love her, Mora. Emily is my wife, and nothing you or my mother say or do will change that. Sarah's face contorted with anger. You're making a huge mistake. She'll never fit into our world, Victor. She's too old, too common. That's enough. Victor roared, making us all jump. I don't care about your world, Mom. I care about building a life with the woman I love. If you can't accept that, then you're no longer welcome in our lives. A heavy silence fell over the room. Sarah and Mora stared at us, stunned. I took a deep breath, finding my voice. This is your last chance. Either you accept our marriage and treat us with respect, or we're done. No more contact, no more chances. Victor nodded in agreement. The choice is yours. As we turned to leave, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Whatever Sarah and Mora decided, Victor and I were united. We'd faced their worst and come out stronger. Walking back to the car, Victor pulled me close. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. I smiled, feeling a surge of love and determination. We did it together. Now let's go on that honeymoon. Hand in hand, we drove away, leaving Sarah and Mora to grapple with the consequences of their actions. Our future was bright, and nothing could dim its shine. The days following our confrontation with Sarah and Mora were a whirlwind. Victor and I tried to focus on our delayed honeymoon plans, but the weight of recent events hung heavy over us. We'd hoped our ultimatum would be the end of it, but we couldn't have been more wrong. It started with a series of missed calls from Sarah. Then came the tearful voicemails, begging for forgiveness. Victor listened to each one, his face growing more troubled with every message. Maybe we should hear her out, he said one evening, his voice hesitant. I felt my stomach clench. Victor, after everything she's done? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I know. It's just, she's still my mother. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number, containing a single image. My blood ran cold as I opened it. Emily? What's wrong? Victor asked, noticing my expression. I wordlessly handed him the phone. The picture showed me, clearly photoshopped, in an intimate embrace with a stranger. The accompanying message read, Still think you can trust her, Victor? Victor's face darkened. This has Mora written all over it. They're not going to stop, are they? I whispered, feeling a mix of anger and despair. Just then, the doorbell rang. We exchanged wary glances before Victor went to answer it. I heard muffled voices, then he returned, holding a thick envelope. It's from my father, he said, tearing it open. Inside was a letter from William, along with a stack of documents. As we read through them, my heart sank further. Sarah had been busy. She'd hired a private investigator to dig into my past, looking for any dirt she could use against me. The file contained twisted versions of old relationships, financial struggles, and even a minor legal issue from my college days. This is insane, Victor muttered, his hands shaking. How could she go this far? I felt tears pricking at my eyes. What if this never ends? Victor, I can't live like this. He pulled me into a tight embrace. We won't. We'll figure this out, I promise. But as the days wore on, the pressure only increased. Sarah started showing up at our workplaces, causing scenes. Mora spread vicious rumors among our friends. It felt like our whole world was closing in around us. One night, After another exhausting day of damage control, I found Victor sitting in the dark, staring at his phone. "What is it?" I asked, dreading the answer. He looked up, his eyes filled with anguish. "My mother. She's threatening to cut me off completely. No inheritance, no family connections, nothing." I felt my heart break for him. "Oh, Victor. That's not all," he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "She's offering a deal. If we get an annulment, she'll stop everything. She'll even help set us both up with new jobs, far away from each other." The room seemed to spin around me. "You can't be considering this," I choked out. Victor stood up, pacing the room. "Of course not. But Emily, how long can we keep fighting? It's affecting our jobs, our friendships, everything." I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what I was about to say. Maybe we should take a break. Not from each other," I added quickly, seeing the panic in his eyes. "But from all of this. We could go away for a while, just the two of us. No phones, no family drama. Just us." Victor stopped pacing, considering my words. "You mean like an extended honeymoon?" I nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. "Exactly. We need time to regroup, to remember why we're fighting so hard for this." He was quiet for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Okay, let's do it. But first, we need to make some things clear with my mother and Maura." I stood up, taking his hand. "Together." Victor squeezed my hand, a determined look in his eyes. "Together. It's time to take a stand once and for all." As we began planning our escape and our final confrontation, I felt a mix of fear and determination. Whatever came next, Victor and I would face it as a united front. Our love had been tested, but it hadn't broken. Now it was time to show Sarah and Maura just how unbreakable we truly were. The soft cries of our newborn daughter, Lily, filled the nursery as I gently rocked her. At 6 months old, she was the light of our lives, a beautiful reminder of the love Victor and I shared despite all the obstacles we'd faced. "Is she finally settling down?" Victor whispered, peeking into the room. I nodded, carefully placing Lily in her crib. "I think so. She's been fussy all day." As we tiptoed out of the nursery, I caught sight of the pile of unopened envelopes on the hallway table. My stomach clenched, recognizing Sarah's handwriting on several of them. Victor followed my gaze and sighed. "We can't keep ignoring her forever, Emily. Watch me," I muttered, but deep down I knew he was right. Our decision to cut ties with Sarah and Maura had brought us peace for a while, but the constant barrage of letters, gifts, and attempts at contact was wearing us down. Just then my phone buzzed with a text from my mom. "Turn on the news now." Frowning, I grabbed the remote and flipped to the local channel. My jaw dropped as I saw Sarah's face filling the screen, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I just want to see my granddaughter," she sobbed to the reporter. "My son and daughter-in-law have cut me out of their lives completely. I'm missing precious moments with my only grandchild." Victor's face darkened. "She's gone too far this time." Before I could respond, my phone exploded with notifications. Friends, coworkers, even distant acquaintances were messaging, asking about the news story. The court of public opinion was already forming, and it wasn't in our favor. "What are we going to do?" I asked, feeling panic rise in my chest. Victor paced the room, running his hands through his hair. "We need to counter this somehow. Maybe give our own interview." I shook my head. "No, that's exactly what she wants. We'd be playing right into her hands." Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. We exchanged wary glances before Victor went to answer it. I heard muffled voices. Then he returned with a grim expression. "It's a summons," he said, holding out an official-looking document. "My mother is suing for grandparents' rights." The room spun around me. "Can she even do that?" Victor nodded, his face pale. "Apparently, she's claiming we're unfit parents for denying Lily a relationship with her grandmother. She's demanding visitation rights." I felt like I couldn't breathe. Everything we'd fought for, the peaceful life we'd built, was crumbling around us. "This can't be happening," I whispered. Just then, Lily's cries echoed from the nursery. As I moved to go to her, Victor caught my arm. "Emily, wait," he said, his voice strained. "There's something else." I braced myself, not sure how much more I could take. "My father called earlier. He's left my mother. Says he can't stand by and watch her destroy our family anymore." A mix of emotions washed over me. Relief that William had finally seen the light, guilt that our issues had contributed to the breakdown of their marriage, and fear of what a desperate, newly single Sarah might do next. "What do we do now?" I asked, feeling more lost than ever. Victor pulled me close, his embrace tight. "We fight. For our daughter, for our family. We've come too far to let my mother win now." As Lily's cries grew louder, we broke apart. I headed to the nursery, my mind racing. We'd faced so much already, but this felt different. Sarah had upped the ante, bringing our innocent child into her twisted games. Lifting Lily from her crib, I held her close, inhaling her sweet baby scent. "I promise," I whispered fiercely, "I will never let anyone hurt you or come between our family." But as I looked into her innocent eyes, a wave of doubt washed over me. Could we really protect her from the storm that was coming? And at what cost to ourselves? The courthouse loomed before us, a stark reminder of the battle we were about to face. Victor squeezed my hand as we climbed the steps. Lily nestled safely in her carrier. "Ready?" he asked, his voice tight with tension. I nodded, steeling myself. "As I'll ever be." As we entered the courtroom, I caught sight of Sarah sitting at the plaintiff's table, her face a mask of sorrow. Beside her sat Maura, looking smug. My blood boiled at the sight of them. Our lawyer, a stern-faced woman named Patricia, motioned us to our seats. "Remember," she whispered, "stay calm no matter what they say." The judge entered, and the proceedings began. I listened in horror as Sarah's lawyer painted a picture of us as cruel, vindictive parents, denying an innocent grandmother access to her beloved grandchild. When it was our turn, Patricia presented evidence of Sarah and Maura's past behavior. The wedding disruption, the false infidelity claims, the relentless harassment. But as I watched the judge's face, I couldn't tell if it was enough. Just as Patricia was wrapping up, the courtroom doors burst open. William strode in, looking determined. "Your Honor," he said, his voice ringing out, "I have information crucial to this case." Sarah's face drained of color. "William, what are you doing?" The judge allowed William to approach. He handed over a thick folder, his hands shaking slightly. "These are recordings and documents detailing my wife's plans to separate Emily and Victor," he said. "She's been manipulating events from the beginning, Your Honor, even going so far as to plan false allegations of infidelity and attempting to arrange a marriage for Emily behind Victor's back." The courtroom erupted in murmurs. I felt dizzy, overwhelmed by this unexpected turn of events. Sarah leapt to her feet. "He's lying. William, how could you betray me like this?" The judge called for order, then spent several minutes reviewing the documents. When she looked up, her expression was grave. "In light of this new evidence," she said, "I'm dismissing the case for grandparents' rights. Furthermore, I'm issuing a restraining order against Sarah and Maura, barring them from contacting Emily, Victor, or their child." Relief washed over me, so intense I felt my knees buckle. Victor caught me, holding me close as tears streamed down my face. As we left the courtroom, William approached us hesitantly. "I'm so sorry," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I should have spoken up sooner." Victor nodded, his expression a mix of gratitude and lingering hurt. "Thank you, Dad. It means a lot that you finally stood up for us." We were about to leave when Sarah's voice rang out behind us. "This isn't over," she shrieked. "You'll regret this, all of you." I turned to face her, finding strength I didn't know I had. "No, Sarah. It is over. You've lost. Your son, your grandchild, and now your husband. I hope it was worth it." As we walked away, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. But just as we reached the courthouse steps, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. I opened it, my heart sinking as I read, "You may have won the battle, but the war isn't over. Watch your backs. M. I showed the message to Victor, seeing my own fear reflected in his eyes. We'd thought the nightmare was finally over, but it seemed Mora wasn't ready to give up just yet. What do we do now? I whispered, clutching Lily closer. Victor's jaw set in determination. We stay strong. We've come this far. We won't let them break us now. As we headed home, I couldn't shake the feeling that our troubles were far from over. We'd weathered so much already, but how much more could we take? And what lengths would Mora go to in her quest for revenge? With Lily's soft breathing reminding me of everything we had to lose, I silently vowed to do whatever it took to protect our family. The real battle, it seemed, was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the courtroom showdown, and life had settled into a peaceful rhythm. Lily, now a vibrant 6-year-old, filled our days with joy and laughter. Victor and I had grown stronger through our trials, our love deepening with each passing year. As we packed for our long-awaited family vacation, a knock at the door startled us. Victor answered, his body tensing as he recognized the visitor. "Mora," he said, disbelief coloring his voice. "What are you doing here?" I rushed to his side, instinctively placing myself between Mora and Lily. But the woman before us was a far cry from the smug, vindictive person we'd known. Her clothes were disheveled, her eyes red-rimmed and desperate. "Please," she whispered, "I need your help." Against my better judgment, we let her in. As she sank onto our couch, her story spilled out in a torrent of tears and regret. Mora's life had unraveled spectacularly. Her wealthy fiancé had discovered her web of lies and manipulations, leaving her publicly humiliated and penniless. With nowhere else to turn, she'd come to us, the very people she'd tried so hard to destroy. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed, "for everything. I was jealous and bitter, and I let it consume me." I felt a mix of emotions, pity, anger, and a strange sense of vindication. But before I could respond, another knock echoed through the house. Victor opened the door to reveal Sarah, looking equally worse for wear. My heart raced as our past and present collided in our living room. Sarah's eyes darted between us and Mora. "I see I'm not the only one seeking forgiveness," she said softly. As Sarah shared her own tale of woe, William's departure, the loss of her social standing, the crushing loneliness of her self-made isolation, I felt the last pieces of a long-running puzzle fall into place. "Why now?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. "After all this time, why come to us?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Because I've lost everything that I thought mattered. And in losing it all, I finally see what truly does matter. Family, love, forgiveness." Victor took my hand, his grip anchoring me as emotions swirled through me. "And you, Mora?" he asked. Mora looked up, her face a mask of regret. "I've learned the hard way that lies and manipulation only lead to emptiness. Seeing you too, still so strong and happy despite everything. I want that. I want to be better." As the weight of their words settled over us, Lily's small voice piped up from behind me. "Mommy, who are these ladies?" I knelt down, meeting my daughter's curious gaze. In that moment, I saw the future stretching out before us. A future where old wounds could heal, where forgiveness might pave the way for new beginnings. "They're family," I said softly. "Family who've been away for a long time." Victor squeezed my shoulder, a silent show of support. I stood facing Sarah and Mora. "We can't forget the past," I said firmly. "But maybe we can start building a different future. It won't be easy, and there will be boundaries. But if you're truly committed to change, we're willing to try." The relief on their faces was palpable. As we began the delicate dance of reconciliation, I felt a profound sense of peace wash over me. We'd weathered the storms, faced down the darkest parts of human nature, and emerged stronger for it. Later that night, as Victor and I lay in bed, he turned to me with wonder in his eyes. "Did we really just invite Sarah and Mora back into our lives?" I chuckled softly. "I think we did. Are we crazy?" He pulled me close, kissing my forehead. "Maybe, but we're crazy together. And after everything we've been through, I think we can handle anything. As I drifted off to sleep, I marveled at the journey that had brought us here. From a shaky engagement to a hard-won peace, we'd fought for our love every step of the way. And in that fight, we'd not only preserved our family but found the strength to expand it in ways we never could have imagined. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Victor by my side and Lily lighting our way, I knew we could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Our love had been tested by fire and emerged unbreakable. And in that unbreakable bond, I found the greatest adventure of all. The adventure of a life lived fully, loved deeply, and shared generously. As I closed my eyes, I smiled. The best was yet to come.